find that we apologize for asking for what we want a lot. I find myself like, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. You don't have to do that. But women are, seem perceived as being demanding or difficult.
Well, I love romance. I'm a hopeless romantic. Romance is like everywhere in my life, but I had never read a romance novel.
What happens when a celebrity long considered untouchable, polished on the red carpet and adored on social media, suddenly finds herself at the heart of a controversy capable of toppling everything? That's the question now surrounding Blake Lively. Once hailed as Hollywood's golden girl, Lively was the actress who lit up late-night shows with charm, commanded attention on film sets, and spoke so candidly in interviews that fans felt they personally knew her. She embodied the quintessential America's sweetheart image, first capturing hearts in a hit teen drama before seamlessly transitioning into feature films. Her range solidified her credibility, shifting effortlessly from light-hearted comedies to emotional character pieces. Off-camera, her online presence was curated to perfection, equal parts glamour and relatability. One day she'd post couture editorials, the next she'd poke fun at herself or joke about family life. Paired with her famously witty back and forth with husband Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively appeared to be a rare Hollywood figure who was talented, likable, and scandal-proof. She avoided the pitfalls that dismantle young stars and maintained an air of effortless composure. So when early murmurs of backstage conflict surfaced, most fans and industry insiders shrugged it off as routine gossip. Hollywood is no stranger to reports of creative disagreements, tense sets, or overworked actors losing their temper. At worst, people assumed Lively had exchanged sharp words with the director, hardly newsworthy. But what began as harmless chatter didn't fade. It escalated. Quickly. Leaked messages, allegations of manipulation, mounting legal undertones, and the quiet distancing of former allies signaled this was no mere misunderstanding. The narrative shifted overnight. This wasn't a stressed moment on set, it was a full-blown reputational crisis. And at the center of it all was a film that should have been her victory lap, a highly anticipated adaptation of a beloved novel with an already dedicated fan base. Directing the project was Justin Baldoni, known for emotionally driven storytelling rooted in empathy and optimism. His reputation in the industry had long been one of collaboration, kindness, and purpose-driven filmmaking paired with Blake, an actress long praised for blending emotional authenticity with effortless star power. The collaboration seemed destined for cinematic glory. On paper, it was a perfect equation. His reputation for heartfelt storytelling, her ability to command both empathy and attention on screen. But from the earliest days of production, murmurs of tension began circulating. Initial reports hinted that Blake felt artistically restrained, her instincts clashing with Justin's interpretation of key scenes. Soon after, more troubling claims emerged, suggesting that protocols surrounding emotionally demanding or physically strenuous moments may not have been properly followed. In today's post-#Me Too environment, such allegations are not taken lightly. Questions of safety, respect, and professional conduct now carry far greater weight across the industry. What began as passing gossip among crew members quietly evolved into concern among executives. Was there more to this than creative disagreements? Those whispers soon materialized into formal complaints, and from there, the situation spiraled into legal territory. A project once expected to elevate both stars instead mutated into a public relations nightmare. For Blake Lively, the stakes could not be higher. Her brand has always been built on more than talent, it was about seeming different. Relatable, honest, untouched by the arrogance or chaos often associated with celebrity culture. She wasn't just adored, she was trusted. And now, with speculation spreading and details leaking in fragments, that trust is fracturing. Fans who once double-tapped her playful captions and red carpet photos are now asking an unsettling question. Had her authenticity been an illusion all along? At this point, the controversy isn't just about miscommunication on a film set. It's about survival, whether Blake Lively can withstand the kind of public unraveling that has ended countless Hollywood careers before hers.
Tease each other. He was, after I gave birth, he was like, oh my gosh, if I lost you and I, went to the park with our 3 kids, think of the ladies I can. This is a horrible thing to say. And he's like, I've got a long list. And I was like, oh really? Because I just have one on my list. I didn't have anyone on my list.
And then it wasn't Tell me, and he's
Think of
guessing.
someone.
Like,
Think of
right,
someone.
right.
Bob Newhart. I don't know.
According to Blake, one of the most hurtful elements of her fallout with Justin Baldoni stemmed from offhand remarks she alleged he made about her postpartum body, comments she described as diminishing and dismissive. The claim landed hard. For years, Blake had positioned herself as an advocate for body confidence and self-care, often praised for her candidness about motherhood. So the idea that a respected director would allegedly reduce her to such commentary felt not only inappropriate, but deeply personal. Her legal team quickly moved to capitalize on the emotional weight of the allegation, releasing what they presented as corroborating evidence. These included carefully selected text message excerpts implying Justin had been insensitive, boundary-pushing, and at times unprofessional. One particularly concerning exchange hinted that he had entered her private trailer without permission, a breach of decorum considered unacceptable in any workplace, let alone on a major film set. The media wasted no time amplifying the story. Headlines linked the situation to prior Hollywood controversies involving male figures accused of ignoring professional boundaries. Social media followed suit, erupting into outrage. Commentators labeled Justin another tone-deaf industry leader, while a minority urged restraint, pointing out how selective screenshots can easily skew perception. Still, in the initial surge of reaction, public opinion leaned firmly toward Blake. Given her long-standing reputation for honesty and relatability, many were quick to believe she was simply defending herself against inappropriate treatment. But then came a sharp reversal. Justin's team responded with a full release of the unedited text thread, complete with timestamps, full messages, and even emojis omitted from Blake's version. The expanded context painted an entirely different narrative. Rather than callous or dismissive, Justin appeared consistently considerate, repeatedly checking in about Blake's comfort, offering adjustments for demanding scenes, and making it clear that filming could be halted at any moment if she felt uneasy. Even the alleged trailer invasion began to unravel. The unedited message thread revealed that Blake herself had invited Justin inside on at least one occasion, directly contradicting the implication that he had entered without consent. Lines previously highlighted by Blake's team as incriminating appeared far less damning when read in full. What had been framed as insensitive or invasive now came across as standard collaboration, even problem-solving. In an instant, the neatly framed narrative of Blake the victim versus Justin the aggressor grew blurry, if not outright inverted. Then came the most startling twist of all, the sudden resignation of Blake's high-powered attorney, a legal titan renowned for steering A-list clients through their worst crises. In the world of celebrity litigation, attorneys of that caliber do not walk away from high-profile cases unless the situation is untenable. While the departing lawyer stopped short of accusing Blake of dishonesty, their carefully phrased statement referenced irreconcilable differences between Blake's account and the available evidence. The implication was unmistakable: continuing to defend her could compromise their professional ethics. Within hours, the exit sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Industry observers and fans alike began reassessing everything. Had Blake overplayed her hand? Were the original allegations as solid as they had seemed? Or had the public been swept up in a premature narrative? But perhaps most devastating was Hollywood's reaction. Influential insiders who had once openly supported Blake began to pull away. Some did it discreetly, offering praise to Justin in interviews or posting vaguely supportive messages that subtly appeared to side with him. Others made quieter moves, unfollowing her on social media, removing her from collaborative credits, or excluding her from promotional material. By some counts, nearly a dozen major figures had shifted their alliances. For the first time in her career, Blake Lively, once considered bulletproof, was watching her inner circle contract, her credibility questioned, and her long-cultivated image.
And we went into the audition, and he signed in, and then the casting director came out and said, "Blake?" And Eric said, "Yep, that's her." And I just thought I was gonna die. And she said, "We don't have you on our call sheet." And he said, "Oh," and he put his agency's name. And so I auditioned, and I didn't know what to say in that moment. I was 16, and my brother had just written my name on a piece of paper, and they were looking at me. So I walked in the room and did the audition.
Perhaps the most jarring shift in Blake Lively's crumbling support network came from within her own cast. A prominent co-star from her latest film, someone who had publicly praised her professionalism during early press tours, quietly reversed their stance after reviewing the full, unedited text exchanges. What began as emphatic public backing turned into a subtle yet unmistakable withdrawal, reportedly fueled by the belief that the controversy stemmed more from selective editing and misinterpretation than from outright misconduct. Equally surprising was the reaction from a celebrated singer-songwriter credited with introducing Blake to Justin Baldoni in the first place. Feeling misled by the initial portrayal of events, the artist reportedly realigned with Justin after seeing the broader context, suggesting the fallout cut deeper than mere professional conflict. Even more damaging was the growing skepticism of a mutual friend deeply embedded in Blake and Ryan Reynolds' inner circle, a regular at their private dinners and philanthropic functions. According to sources, this longtime confidant acknowledged privately that the timeline and tone of Blake's accusations no longer aligned with the evidence once the full messages were public. That admission further eroded confidence among those still on the fence. Then came the most explosive rumor yet, whispers of an alleged recording captured inadvertently by one of Blake's own children, in which she was overheard strategizing ways to amplify routine production tensions into serious infractions. Though no such recording has been verified, the mere suggestion of deliberate narrative manipulation sent Hollywood into overdrive. In an industry where controlled storytelling is everything, even the hint of fabricated grievance can be career-ending. And all the while, one silence grew louder than any statement: Ryan Reynolds. Known for his quick wit and habit of publicly teasing his wife with affection, Ryan has remained conspicuously detached from the controversy. Fans expected a show of solidarity, a sarcastic jab at Justin or a humorous yet pointed defense of Blake. But beyond his usual posts promoting his gin brand, soccer investments, and comedic ventures, he has avoided the scandal entirely. Insiders suggest his silence isn't hesitation, it's calculation. Sources claim he has either reviewed the same unedited exchanges or been briefed on further behind-the-scenes communications, making it risky to align himself too strongly with a narrative that may not withstand further scrutiny. It's a brutal dilemma for any spouse: defend your partner and risk collateral damage, or step back and protect your own credibility. For Blake, that silence may be the most damaging blow of all. Her career has long been defined by poise, reliability, and scandal-free appeal, qualities that made her a studio favorite and a brand ambassador's dream. Now, insiders say multiple projects connected to her name are being quietly paused as decision-makers adopt a cautious wait-and-see stance. In Hollywood, perception often outweighs proof. And until the dust settles, Blake Lively, once seen as untouchable, finds herself facing the one thing she was never expected to confront: uncertainty.
Look, first of all, being a director is a very lonely job and there's a lot of pressure. And I think the only way that I got through it is I just surrounded myself with people that were so much smarter than me. As it relates to the acting part, it's a heavy load to carry. I wanted to do as much justice as I could to survivors by making Ryle as truthful.
Hollywood studios have always been risk-averse when it comes to controversy, and the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni dispute has put them in a particularly uncomfortable position. At the end of the day, studio executives care about two things above all else: profitability and public perception. A star entangled in scandal threatens both. No one wants to invest tens of millions into a film that audiences might reject before the first trailer even drops. Some insiders are cautiously hoping Blake's long-standing status as America's sweetheart might still outweigh the growing noise. But the sudden resignation of her high-profile attorney, paired with inconsistencies in her narrative, has made that hope increasingly difficult to justify. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni has approached the situation with unexpected restraint. Rather than deploying the aggressive PR tactics often seen in Hollywood, counterattacks, leaks, or strategic character smears, he has opted for calm transparency. His team released the entire text exchanges, complete with timestamps and unfiltered conversational context, which reframed his actions as considerate rather than dismissive. He has avoided inflammatory language, instead focusing on clear timelines, cooperative communication, and his commitment to safe, respectful sets. In both formal interviews and casual interactions, Justin has steered the narrative away from personal conflict and back toward core values: storytelling, empathy, and accountability. Former collaborators have stepped up to vouch for his integrity, describing him as a director who prioritizes the well-being of cast and crew even under the relentless pressure of major productions. That measured response has earned him unlikely defenders at a moment when most public figures in his position would be scrambling to salvage their image through damage control campaigns. Fans, however, are reeling. What troubles them most isn't the legal back and forth. It's the collision between Blake's long public persona and the allegations now circling her. They remember her speeches about body confidence, her viral exchanges with Ryan Reynolds, her candid behind-the-scenes posts that made her feel approachable and real. To now see her accused of distorting events for leverage feels, to many, like a personal betrayal. Some remain steadfast in Blake's defense, insisting that postpartum emotions are complex, and that even an offhand remark about her body could have landed harshly, regardless of intent. Others argue that Justin's camp may also be curating evidence to serve its own interests. And so, the public is left suspended in a murky gray zone. Is Blake a woman caught in a power struggle? Or did she assemble a narrative that began to crumble once exposed to full context? Social media has become the arena where this battle is being waged. Every leaked message, every interview clip, every speculative rumor is dissected in real time. Depending on which version resonates more, people are rallying behind Blake as a mistreated mother or applauding Justin as a model of transparency. Meanwhile, the film at the epicenter of the chaos is stuck in limbo. Ordinarily, adapting a beloved novel guarantees a built-in audience eager to see the story brought to life. But instead of fans debating casting choices or plot accuracy, the conversation has been hijacked by discussions of text messages, trailer etiquette, and postpartum sensitivity. For marketers, this is disastrous. No matter how strong the final product may be, scandal can smother enthusiasm before the opening weekend. Industry insiders are now debating strategy. Should the promotional campaign lean heavily on Justin's growing reputation for professionalism? Or should it sidestep the controversy entirely by appealing directly to the novel's established fan base? Either way, the shadow of the scandal looms large. As for Blake, her path forward is narrowing. One option is to go on the offensive, to double down, release more alleged evidence, and attempt to reclaim control of the narrative. But that route is fraught with danger. If her material once again fails to withstand scrutiny, her credibility could implode for good. The opposite approach is silence, retreating from the spotlight and hoping time dulls public memory. But Hollywood is not forgiving, and silence can easily be spun as concession. Then there's the most difficult, but potentially most effective, path: reconciliation. Acknowledging misunderstandings, dialing back the rhetoric, and repairing relationships behind closed doors. Insiders say this may be her safest bet, especially after the very public exit of her attorney. But it would also require a level of humility rarely displayed by carefully curated A-listers. Which leads to the lingering question few dare to ask aloud. Why would someone as image-conscious as Blake Lively pursue such a high-stakes battle if her case wasn't airtight? Some speculate she felt creatively sidelined and wanted to reassert control. Others point to deeper insecurities, intensified by postpartum pressures and the constant expectation to appear flawless. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: Hollywood is watching. Because in an industry where reputation is currency, this scandal will either fade into obscurity or permanently redefine Blake Lively's legacy.
Most actors' dream is to be able to do a period piece film, but I got to do an every period piece film because, this dates back to 1908 till now. So to explore the different decades, the fashion, the hair and makeup, and, just how women were treated in each of those.
One possible explanation for Blake Lively's unraveling situation is that she may have underestimated how relentlessly digital interactions can be scrutinized. In an era where every emoji, timestamp, and punctuation mark can be cross-referenced and authenticated, offering selective evidence is no longer enough to win public trust. By sharing only carefully edited portions of her private exchanges with director Justin Baldoni, Blake may have assumed that sympathy would naturally fall in her favor. What she seemingly did not anticipate was Justin countering with the full, unredacted conversations, a move that flipped the narrative overnight and left her appearing selective at best, deceptive at worst. That said, her perspective may not have been entirely calculated. It's plausible she genuinely felt slighted. Remarks that seemed innocuous to others could have landed differently with her, especially under the emotional strain of postpartum life. Interpretation is subjective. What one person hears as a light-hearted comment, another may internalize as dismissive or belittling. And on film sets, where exhaustion, ego, and creative friction collide, misunderstandings are practically standard. Yet in the current digital climate, a few isolated lines can ignite an uproar, while a few more lines of context can instantly reverse it, often against the person who struck the match. Whatever the intent behind her actions, the professional fallout is tangible. Insiders report that several major producers are now hesitant to attach Blake to upcoming projects until the controversy subsides. More tellingly, roughly 10 high-profile celebrities and industry veterans, many of whom previously praised or worked closely with her, have quietly begun to distance themselves. These aren't casual acquaintances. They are co-stars, collaborators, and longtime allies. Their retreat signals an insider consensus that the evidence doesn't fully support Blake's claims. Even so, Hollywood scandals rarely align neatly into hero and villain roles. Both parties could be simultaneously right and wrong. Justin's calm, methodical transparency has solidified his credibility, but that doesn't guarantee he's shared everything. The industry thrives on withheld truths, silent negotiations, and political maneuvering. Still, the optics currently favor him. Full messages released, timelines supported, tone consistently respectful, all contrasting sharply with the inconsistencies emerging in Blake's account. Fans now find themselves torn. Some feel betrayed, pointing out that Blake fashioned her image around authenticity and empowerment, only to now be portrayed as calculating. Others insist she is simply a vulnerable mother whose emotional bandwidth was tested at the wrong moment. Speculation surrounding Blake Lively's worsening situation has intensified, with many suggesting she may have miscalculated just how unforgiving the digital age can be. In a world where every timestamp, emoji, and punctuation mark can be authenticated, selectively presenting evidence is no longer a safe strategy. By releasing only fragments of her alleged conversations with director Justin Baldoni, Blake appeared to assume the public would instinctively rally behind her. Instead, Justin's decision to publish the full, unedited text exchanges flipped the narrative almost instantly, casting her not just as emotional, but potentially manipulative. That said, intent is still a gray area. It's possible Blake's reaction wasn't orchestrated, but genuinely felt. Comments that seemed casual or harmless to others may have triggered deeper insecurities, particularly if she was navigating postpartum vulnerability. Perception is subjective. What's merely blunt to one person can feel belittling to another. And on high-pressure film sets, where long hours and creative egos clash, misunderstandings are practically inevitable. But in today's media climate, a few strategic screenshots can ignite an inferno, and a few more can burn the original sparkler. The consequences, however, are now impossible to ignore. Industry insiders say major studios are quietly pausing negotiations linked to Blake until the controversy stabilizes. Even more telling is the silent exodus of roughly 10 high-profile allies, not background acquaintances, but well-known co-stars, collaborators, and public supporters who once boosted her image. Their withdrawal signals a growing belief behind closed doors that the evidence may not favor Blake after all. Still, Hollywood scandals are rarely one-sided. Justin's calm and methodical response has strengthened his credibility, but that doesn't guarantee total transparency on his part either. Power plays in the entertainment industry often stay buried beneath polished PR statements. Yet, his consistent timelines, full message releases, and focus on respectful workplace dynamics present a level of openness that Blake's fragmented approach lacks. The rumor mill has further complicated matters. Whispers of an alleged secret recording, potentially involving one of her children, remain unverified, but damaging nonetheless. In an industry where perception is currency, even baseless speculation can devastate reputations. Adding to the tension is Ryan Reynolds' silence. Known for humorously defending Blake at every turn, his refusal to comment has sparked questions. Is he withholding support out of caution? Or does he know more than he's willing to reveal? For Blake, the path forward is perilous. Hollywood may forgive, but only when the comeback is handled with precision. If she continues to fight without definitive proof, her credibility may erode beyond repair. If she retreats, many will take it as silent admission. Her only viable option may lie in a controlled reset, acknowledging missteps, clarifying perspective without hostility, and recalibrating her image toward authenticity rather than defensiveness. Ultimately, this saga underscores a harsh truth. In modern Hollywood, reputations aren't destroyed by accusations alone, but by context. Blake initially held public sympathy. Then Justin supplied all the context. And just like that, the tide turned. Whether she is a calculated tactician or simply a victim of emotional misjudgment remains unresolved. But the silent departure of 10 influential allies speaks louder than any headline. A once untouchable star now finds herself surrounded not by applause, but uncertainty.
A bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Does she like play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of like pretends to play with her. So like in the beginning, our oldest is like loving on her, and she's like very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just like.
For a star whose image has always rested on authenticity, the sudden collapse of public trust is nothing short of catastrophic. Blake Lively, once regarded as Hollywood's golden standard of charm and relatability, now stands on far shakier ground. And for those watching from the outside, it's fair to wonder, does this scandal actually matter beyond celebrity gossip? In many ways, it does. At its core, this situation isn't just about two public figures, it's about credibility, evidence, perception, and power. These are dynamics that shape every workplace and social hierarchy, not just film sets. It's a sobering reminder, even the most adored figures can falter, and a carefully curated image can disintegrate the moment contradictory facts surface. One day, social media hailed Blake as a brave voice speaking out against misconduct. The very next, many of those same supporters were accusing her of exaggeration, or worse, fabrication. The real lesson here? Controlling the narrative is easy when you speak first, but nearly impossible once the full picture emerges. Half-truths buckle under scrutiny. Stories built on selective framing rarely withstand exposure to context. For Justin Baldoni, the path forward is comparatively clear. If public perception continues trending in his favor, he may solidify his image as the calm, principled professional he has projected throughout. His decision to release full-text exchanges, maintain consistency in his statements, and avoid engaging in personal attacks has allowed him to occupy higher ground both ethically and strategically. Should the tide remain this direction, his career could proceed with minimal long-term damage. Blake's road, however, is far more uncertain. Redemption is possible, but it won't come without accountability. She may need to offer a measured explanation, clarifying her perception, emotional state, and intentions without resorting to defensiveness. Alternatively, she could choose to withdraw temporarily, reassessing privately before attempting a comeback. Neither path is easy. Hollywood may forgive, but it rarely forgets. From now on, her every move will be judged not just on creativity or charisma, but on sincerity. Then there's the personal fallout. Ryan Reynolds, long known for publicly praising and playfully teasing Blake, has remained unusually silent. In a marriage built on public banter, his refusal to comment has only deepened speculation. Does he know more than the public? Has he seen evidence that gives him pause? Or is he consciously staying out of the crossfire? Whatever the truth, his silence sends its own message, that even those closest to Blake may not be fully certain of her footing. If those doubts spill beyond the spotlight, this scandal may strain not only Blake's career but her home life as well. The next chapter likely depends on whether any new evidence surfaces. If Blake holds proof that substantiates her claims, she could reclaim some of the trust she has lost. But if the rumored recording involving one of her children were ever released, and it confirmed suspicions that she had been carefully crafting a narrative from the start, it could permanently cement her fall from grace. Hollywood is full of redemption arcs, but just as many careers have crumbled from one poorly handled controversy. Meanwhile, the film at the center of this entire storm hangs in limbo. Once pitched as a heartfelt passion project for both Blake and Justin, it now risks becoming collateral damage. Some viewers may boycott it out of principle, unwilling to support either side. Others may watch out of pure curiosity, eager to detect tension on screen. Either way, The artistry of the adaptation has been overshadowed by scandal, a loss for everyone involved. So where does that leave us? The million-dollar question remains unanswered. Can Blake Lively restore her image as Hollywood's relatable sweetheart, or has she crossed too far into murky territory for public forgiveness? Will Justin Baldoni continue to navigate the situation with poise, solidifying his reputation as a director defined by integrity? Could an unforeseen twist flip the narrative yet again? And what of the celebrities who quietly stepped back? Will they rally behind Blake if new evidence emerges, or is that silence permanent? At this point, uncertainty reigns. But one thing is clear: the stakes have never been higher. The outcome of this feud will shape not only the careers of Blake and Justin, but also serve as a cautionary tale about how quickly reputations can rise or fall in the era of screenshots and social media tribunals. Whether this scandal fades or escalates, it has already secured its place as one of the defining controversies of Blake Lively's career. And for fans and insiders alike, the story is far from over.